Well, it's that time again. That time to go see our old friend Michael Snyder. He's out there. Are you in Hollywood today, or are you in San Francisco?
No, I'm in Hollywood. I'm trying to stay close to the heart of the business since everyone's going crazy for the new Star Trek, which we'll get to in a second.
The new Star Trek?
Yeah. Oh, no, excuse me. That's how confusing it is out here in Los Angeles. Because J.J. Abrams, the guy who revived the Star Trek brand with a bizarre kind of retro reboot, is in charge now of Star Wars. It's like he's got the market cornered on science fiction. Director J.J. Abrams, the guy who first came to our attention as the showrunner and creator of Felicity and then Alias, has somehow found his way to the pinnacle of Hollywood success with both Star Trek and now in particular with taking the torch from George Lucas and actually doing what Lucas intended years and years and years ago, which is helping finish what would be a 9-movie series based on Lucas's idea about inspired by the old Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon movies and serials, a space opera that would kind of bring all that into a new generation. And now we're into yet more generations. And this movie, which is called, I guess officially, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, picks up where I guess we'd say the 6th film, which would actually be the 3rd one that was made, The Return of the Jedi, left off. And actually, it's a number of years afterwards. And if you're looking for something to be a generational saga, the fact that you still have 3 significant actors from the middle 3 films, which were, again, the first ones that were made, A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher, they're still with us. They're a number of years older, and I guess happily, this movie is set the same number of years after the last time the 3 actors were together in one of these Star Wars films. And did you carry a little bit of expectation into this, Michael? Well, yeah, I did, particularly since George Lucas decided to make prequels, and they were pretty lame, with him doing some really clumsy dialogue and convoluted plotting to kind of set everything up that would eventually chronologically reach the first movie he did, which was the 4th movie in the series. Look, it gets confusing.
When you say clumsy dialogue, have you ever gone back and watched Star Wars?
Oh, I know, but there was something really kind of grandiose and Saturday matinee.
No,
about
you know what it
film.
was? You hadn't seen it before, But what I'm saying is he's never been a good dialogue writer. Hasn't been a very good director either.
Well, what's interesting about this, if I may,
it took Kasdan and Kirshner to make the middle picture the best one out of the first 3.
Exactly. Thank you for getting to that, because it truly is the standard by which we judge the other films inadvertently, because it's the good one. The Empire Strikes Back was directed by Irvin Kershner, not by George Lucas. And Lawrence Kasdan, who you and I will agree has written one of the greatest scripts in Hollywood history, that being Raiders of the Lost Ark, now known for some reason as Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was the guy who wrote the snappy dialogue. I mean, how about this? J.J. Abrams went to Lawrence Kasdan, and he also went to screenwriter, filmmaker Michael Arndt, who was one of the writers of Little Miss Sunshine, which was a very charming, clever film. And the 3 of them have done the script to The Force Awakens. I'm watching this thing, and again, we'll avoid all spoilers, except I know it's unfair, but spoiler alert, Darth Vader comes back, and it turns out he's actually Jar Jar Binks. Well, maybe that didn't happen. But I'm watching this thing going, oh my God, why is this so entertaining? Why is this so snappy? Why is this so enjoyable? Other than, I will point out the presence of a gray-haired and grizzled Harrison Ford gave this film a lot of gravitas, fun, and charm all at the same time. Why is it so good? Because the script crackles. And why does it crackle? Well, it's pretty damned obvious. It's not really J.J. Abrams. It's the fact that Lawrence Kasdan came back and wrote the thing with them. And so that's a real advantage when you think about what they've done here. Also, for all you J.J. Abrams detractors, I just want you to know, and a spoiler alert, there is no lens flare. Okay, those are the only spoilers I'm going to say, other than the fact that, yes, three significant characters from the middle trilogy, in other words, the first three films, are back and older, and they're quite good in this movie. And the young actors, including John Boyega from a very cool film, the British film called Attack the Block. He plays a stormtrooper who decides that he's no longer interested in being a stormtrooper, and a young woman by the name of Daisy Ridley plays Rey, who's kind of a scavenger on a desert planet. And from Girls, the TV series written, created, and starring Lena Dunham, the guy who plays her boyfriend, Adam Driver, is in this film as a character named Kylo Ren. And all three of them are really, really good. And Domhnall Gleeson, who's been all over the movie map over the past year or so, is in this as a kind of what you'd call the equivalent of the Peter Cushing role in those earlier films. And he's sort of a general in what is apparently a new order of imperial bastards. And so there are villains afoot here. They are trying to take down what was a rebellion and is now a resistance. So much for the happiness of the sixth episode when, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and Luke revel in having defeated the Empire. And all of this conflict launches more hysteria that's going to be, I guess, continued in two more episodes in this series. Andy Serkis is on board as a villain. You get Max von Sydow. I have to say, I was really pleased by it. And the new characters were totally enjoyable and totally engaging. And yeah, man, Peter Mayhew's back as Chewbacca, like Han Solo, grayer, the big Wookiee. I think people are going to have a lot of fun here. And if you're a fan of Star Wars, you won't be disappointed. And I myself went in with a chip on my shoulder and thought, you know what? This is the best of these films since The Empire Strikes Back. Flat out. So there you go.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen it yet and probably won't see it for a week or so. So,
Yeah, don't go in there with raised expectations. Just, it's not the best film of all. And I will say that in some ways it mirrors A New Hope, but they are launching another trilogy. And so that makes sense.
No, they're launching a franchise, because if you think they're going to just stop at 3, I mean, they're going to do 1 a year.
Well, we already know that there are 2 other, shall we say, threads going on. There's going to be a kind of a side project about the Star Wars universe that is not going to be totally independent of the main franchise, but will actually, I hope, enhance it. And then there's a young Han Solo series that they're also doing. So you're right. You're deadly right. There's going to be a live-action TV thing. Ooh, I wonder how this is impacted by the fact that Lucas sold to Disney. That Disney now oversees the Star Wars franchise, Marvel Universe, and their own many.
I'm still betting, though, that Lucas is still getting money off this one. I think he's got points in this picture.
Well, he did say that the fans would be pleased, and he looked a little sour when he said it in an interview I saw. Sour because I think he thinks, this is an actual script with really cool dialogue and something I'm incapable of. Yeah. But, the guy launched the whole thing to begin with. So, kudos to George Lucas. I'm happy this was entertaining. I hope people enjoy it. Again, it's not the greatest thing since sliced cheese or sliced bread, if you want to put cheese on bread. But I thought, wow, I was satisfied and happy when I walked out of the movie theater.
Is Abrams going to direct the next one?
He is not. In fact, I'm thinking it's somebody else, but it's also kind of a guy who's done some fan favorite stuff. There are a couple of names out in the ether.
But you can bet Abrams' name will be on the pictures as a producer.
Oh, I have to tell you how shocking it is to see the Disney logo, the Lucasfilm logo, and Bad Robot. Yep, you get the Bad Robot logo, and it actually says a Bad Robot production at the beginning as the thing is exploding at you. In my case, in 3D. I saw it in the 3D version. You can see it in 2D. I really don't think people will be disappointed even watching it at home on their giant flat screen TVs when it gets to that point. I really was pleasantly surprised. That's all I'll say.
Okay, but let's get on to the other stuff because we're already way over time here.
Hey, that's good because we got virtually nothing. No, Sisters is a comedy reteaming Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, who decide when they are back home cleaning out their childhood bedroom because their parents are selling the house where they grew up, that they're going to throw a big party for all of their old high school classmates, reconnect with everyone, because that's what they used to do. They used to have big parties and people would get screwed up. And, obviously, Tina plays the wild one and Amy plays the repressed one. Well, not obviously, but that's a little bit of a change. Tina's character is a sort of ne'er-do-well hairdresser with a teenage daughter who's embarrassed by her. Amy is a nurse. And she's sort of a little uptight and staunch. And when they have this big party at the house, right before it's going to be transferred to the new owners, gosh, do you think all hell is going to break loose? So it's like a weird middle-aged version of one of those teen-sploitation films where everyone parties hardy, lessons are learned, property is destroyed, people go wild, people vomit and have unprotected sex. Well, I don't want to, again, spoiler alert, but, they pull out all the stops here because they have the chance to do so now that they have film careers. So our Saturday Night Live alumnus and their friends all get together. Consequently, you do get Bobby Moynihan from the current cast in the movie. You get Rachel Dratch from previous cast. You get supporting work from Maya Rudolph as a mean girl who still harbors resentment towards Tina's character. As mom and dad, James Brolin and Diane Wiest, and Ike Barinholtz from Mad TV, John Leguizamo. It should have been funnier. It kind of was a difficult thing to sit through for me. Samantha Bee in a supporting role, who's got a show coming on Comedy Central or somewhere or another. I wish it had been funnier to me. It had its moments, but Sisters is something that definitely can wait till you watch it on your home screen. And let's just wrap up with Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Road Chip. And when I say let's wrap up, I wish they would wrap up these TV style movies that they're doing. The technology, which, by the way, in this case, the Chipmunks, who are animated and in a live action milieu, are the work of Weta. Out of New Zealand, Peter Jackson's company. So they're pretty remarkable. They're very, very well done. And if only the movie meant something. If only I cared. I guess it's a family thing. I guess kids must love the Chipmunks. And Alvin, Simon, and Theodore, the three singing chipmunks who came to the fore in a Christmas many years ago under the tutelage of Ross Bagdasarian, aka Dave Seville, continue as a franchise of their own with this movie, where Dave is going off to Miami because he's helping a young woman launch her music career. The Chipmunks are sort of essentially retired. They're left with a babysitter, and they're worried that Dave is going to marry his new girlfriend and leave them behind. So they go on the road with the girlfriend's son, who's a live action creature.
Blah, blah, blah. Do you really have to tell us the plot?
Well, that's it. That's all you needed to know. Good night, everybody. I don't know. You get the return of Jason Lee as Dave. And you get Kimberly Williams as the girlfriend, and then you get a bunch of little chipmunks voiced by like Jesse McCartney, and Kaylee Cuoco does the Chipettes leader. Oh my God! I guess kids would like it. I myself felt like I was, sitting through it, much like you're sitting through this review. Son of Saul is also opening. We talked about it last week. It's a pretty heart-wrenching, heartbreaking movie about, the horrors of Auschwitz in 1944, as one of the Jewish prisoners has to convince his fellow prisoners, the newcomers, to basically go into the showers, if you will, go march to their own deaths. Brutal. One of the most powerful movies of this kind that I've ever seen. Stunning and unforgettable stuff. So anyway, yes, from the Chipmunks to Auschwitz. That's me. What do you got in TV, pal?
We got finished watching all 3 nights of Childhood's End.
The Arthur C. Clarke novel made a big 3-part sci-fi miniseries.
Yeah, yeah.
And
We stuck with it. It's not great, but we stuck with it. And it's nice to see something there's not going to be a sequel to.
Wait, spoiler alert. Childhood does end. Oh, no.
But no, I thought it was interesting. It was based on his first novel that he ever did back in the 50s. And Kubrick was going to do it as a movie and then decided he liked something else Clarke had done, and they did 2001 A Space Odyssey together. And over the years, people have wanted to do movies of it and TV stuff out of it, and it's a very difficult thing to do because it's a long epic tale. And I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was interesting. Not great, but it's certainly it carries you along.
Well, it's funny that Sci-Fi has done this because they've also done what appears to be, or what may be, the best thing they've ever done series-wise, The Expanse, which I'm on the 3rd episode of, and I'm really loving. It's kind of a weird film noir in outer space. It's sort of a murder mystery. It suggests, Earth colonizing beyond our own little blue planet, and the effects are pretty wonderful. The actors are good, pretty much for the most part, and it's a very complex and multi-layered tale. But things are dovetailing in the 3rd episode, and I'm very impressed with The Expanse. Epic, maybe not, kind of intimate. You know what? It's by guys that worked with George Martin on Game of Thrones. It's from a book series that is in science fictional terms as opposed to sword and sorcery terms, and I'm really digging The Expanse.
No, I have it to see, but I haven't watched it yet. So I'll take your advice and then blame you later.
Hey, be alert. Keep coffee handy because it's pretty complex. I really thought it's pretty good so far. Let's put it that way.
Okay, well, that's it. Tell them where they can find you, Michael.
I am at Culture Blaster on Twitter, and you can go to Facebook and find the Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page where you can re-listen to Alex and I bicker and agree, and you can also hear me on Roku thanks to the GABNet folks.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Michael, and we'll see you next week.
Got it.
I'm Alex Bennett, and we'll be back with more GABNet.